Welcome back, friends. In the time you were away, we worked all the cold molding screws out of the panels. Man, what a workout. Since we made all those holes with all those screws, you guessed it, we gotta fill them back in. In Sam's book, he suggests using matchsticks to help fill the void and add some structure to the wood flour epoxy mix. I chose to use toothpicks instead, as they were cheaper per box and I could snap them in half and use both ends. They're even pointy like the screws, so they fit all the way into the holes. Now, this was just as fun as putting all the screws in and taking them all out. I also took time to fill the gaps between the panels with wood flour epoxy. We tried to get them to line up perfectly like Sam does in his book, but something in our process was not quite making that happen, so we had some small gaps to fill. Once the epoxy cured with the toothpicks, rather than trying to sand the entire nodule down, I used my handy oscillating tool to cut the majority off, then sanded it down later. I tell ya, when I first bought this oscillating tool, I wasn't sure how much I'd use it. Believe you me, I use this silly thing all the time. Now look at that, sanding is a breeze. Now Dad's back, and his friend Dan flew in to check out the build and get his hands dirty. We finally got around to cutting the excess off from the panels to clean up the transom. They are cut longer just to make sure that you don't end up with panels that are too short. Can you imagine that disappointment? I started out with this inspired idea that we needed to use a handsaw so the edge would be perfect and straight, and we would be real artisans. Well, it didn't come out straight, and we ended up just using a jigsaw by the end of it. then flattening it out with a block plane, and then an angle grinder with a flap disc. With the entire hull now sanded down, we're starting to get really meticulous with how it looks. We decided to go over the seams again with wood flour epoxy to get them as smooth as possible and get the correct angles. With all the sanding done, it's time to vacuum and wipe down the hull. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time as we begin sheathing the hull with fiberglass.